Clixed is brought to you by Lucky Dice Cafe out of Huntsville, Alabama. Check them out at luckydicecafe.com.
Welcome to Clixed Sudden Death.
Welcome everyone to another edition of Clixed Sudden Death, a HeroClix podcast where we talk news, tournament reports, and more vital information to improve your HeroClix game. I'm your host, Alex Coos, and joining me as always is Sam Powell. Sam, I feel like it's been ages since we've recorded a show.
It has been a while. We have just been so busy with all these WKOs.
Yeah, I was a different man then. I felt I probably was a lot younger, and now I'm seasoned.
I feel like I'm wiser.
Yeah.
I've seen the ways of the Hawkeye
Yeah,
and the whales.
We were so naive back then. Back then, Hawkeye was just a thing, and now he's a thing.
He's a really big thing. So. Yeah, we've just been super busy. It's just been it's just been kind of crazy. Like we try to get together to record, and it's been like either we're trying to get ready for a tournament, you've got a bunch of stuff going on, and you're getting ready for tournaments, and
yep,
we just haven't been able to sync up. So
yeah, and we made sure we let the guys do their own thing for their 100th episode, all of that good jazz. So
yeah, we didn't want to show them up.
Yeah, we didn't want it to be like the 99th episode and then suddenly clicks off some death. Haha, you thought it was 100.
Yeah, we should have done that. We should have snuck ours in there, but we didn't want to be those people.
Exactly. So. Well, don't forget that Clickstuff is sponsored by The Rock and Lucky Dice Games. Also, Clickstuff is sponsored by Troll and Toad. Shop trollandtoad.com for all of your HeroClix needs. Trollandtoad.com has one of the largest inventories of HeroClix figures and sealed items on the web. All right, Sam, why don't we just go ahead and get things rolling? We have a lot to talk about in Click number 1.
Click 1. News and upcoming events.
So much has been happening lately that I feel like we could take the whole episode catching people up on everything that's been happening.
Yeah, it's been a lot of news.
Yeah, to start things off, we had news out of GAMA talking about WWE. We had X-Men Regenesis, the kind of like the summer OP event. Looks really cool with the whole figures that are one way, and if they're on a theme team, they flip. It's going to be really neat. I'm excited for more X-Men because that means more things to call in. So I'm really excited about that.
You're just hoping for the Colossus, we know.
Yeah, we need a good Colossus. I would like to give people Impervious, but you know, it is what it is. And Charge is his Wanapus ready.
Yeah, that's fair.
Additionally, we have an official title or name for the X-Men animated series, which we heard about a year ago, kind of to piggyback off of the Batman animated series, which was very successful. It's the Dark Phoenix Saga. So that's neat. Lots and lots of potential in the set. They did say there's super boosters, which I know I was hoping when they said that it was going to be like Avengers Infinity, but I'm like 100% sure it's like Thor, not like Avengers Infinity.
I kind of hope it's not like Avengers Infinity because, like, I mean, we got so much of Avengers Infinity, and you just got all those colossals. You just got so many of them to try to get like the good ones. But with Thor, I mean, there was one super booster per brick, so.
But the downside to that is that your bricks are more expensive technically because they only came with what, like 8 boosters instead of 10.
Yeah,
so you had 8 boosters and then a super booster, and so you're paying more money for less boosters just to get that super booster. And
Yeah.
already some of the pictures from Gamma, there was a Nimrod in there, there was a Phoenix in there, I think. There was a lot of other pieces that looked really good, and I'm super excited about it. And I think that's the
Yeah.
only reason I was kind of hoping it was an Avengers Infinity scenario, but
It probably will just be because of, I think, the size. I think they're wanting to go more of the smaller colossal size, like with like a Groot, and like instead of like the Thors where like the floor is like really big and Surturs are really big and stuff. I think they're wanting to go more towards the size of the AI colossal. So I guess I expect that.
yeah, I think they're going back to Thor. I wish it was Avengers Infinity, because the only downside to Avengers Infinity is that just the set itself wasn't amazing. I think that was the problem. Like, you had a lot of rares and uncommons that were just kind of so-so, because
Yeah.
they were a lot of out of nowhere cosmic-esque pieces, which is great if you're one of those fans, but if you're not, you had a lot of like Her and Adam Warlock and those type of pieces where they're like, those are cool, but eh. And then they tried to do the special terrain that now is kind of more popular, but then it's like, all right, let's go into a sealed event. I got Spider Buggy.
Yeah.
Yay.
I got the start car.
Yeah. So it's I hope they go that way, because I think the set could be great. But
Oh, I think this set's gonna be awesome. I think people are just gonna eat it up. Like from what I see online, from people posting, people are just like, shut up and take my money. Like people are like, I'm gonna be so broke, and it's true. It's gonna be big.
this would never happen, but I wish, as an April Fool's joke, WizKids would put out a sculpt of Wolverine laying down, looking at that picture of Jean or whoever.
Oh yeah,
the meme.
yeah,
They need to like create that image and like leak it out on April Fool's Day as like, here's our new one of our chases, a chase Wolverine, and here's his dial, and his dial's like stealth, like really crappy non-Wolverine because he's sad and mopey in his
yeah.
bed. So WizKids, if you want to use that, not that WizKids listens, but if they want to, that's a fantastic idea. All right. Additionally, there was a lot of news this past week or two about WizKids banning 2 maps. The maps in question is the cargo plane from Deadpool and X-Force, and the National Air Rock map that was WizKids legal. Both of those were banned because of an exploit that was kind of discovered and been underground for a little bit, and it basically revolves around the special terrain rules of the map and the updated colossal clarification starting location that the WizKids changed, where WizKids made it where you have to put all your colossals in your starting area first, and then you expand. And so what happened with those maps is you ended up with people that couldn't fly and that were not colossal in the special terrain, and the exploit basically made it where they could be killed instantly or killed after a few free actions. And it created a huge hubbub and kind of created a lot of interesting arguments and discussion, I thought, on how bad of a game mechanic this is. What do you think about it?
I mean, like, I think it's good for the community to talk about this stuff and get it out there. Like, it was kind of one of those, like, I kind of discovered it after practicing a little bit, and then like kind of talked about it, and kind of I brought up to attention of you guys, and then it was kind of one of those like, wait a minute, and then like people already been talking about it, and what kind of upset me was like it kind of stayed underground for a while.
Yeah.
And it was kind of one of those like, so people were able to exploit it, and it was one of those like, this isn't part of the game, people. Like, I know that there's some people that were upset, why we're gonna ban these maps, but it's like WizKids came out with the Speakeasy map, and like the first thing people did was like, this is how I'm gonna exploit this map. So the WizKids was like, nope, we're not doing it.
Exactly.
And so it's kind of like, I give it to WizKids for saying, hey, no, like this isn't good for the game. Like, and people won't come to events if this is going to happen. Like this isn't good sportsmanship. This isn't good for the community. That's just my feelings on it. I'm happy. I know people are upset because they're like, well, I spent money on these maps. Well, I mean, then you go back on the map creators, and saying, why would you do this? Like, do you play the game? Do you even think about this stuff?
Right.
Like,
exactly.
So.
Yeah, I think WizKids handled it perfectly. They banned the map. Both maps have been banned. And then a day or two later, they sent out a rules update, basically making where it's still technically the trick works once, but the main thing about the trick was after when they're in the open air, they take one unavoidable and they get placed in your starting area. And since they can't be in your starting area, they get placed adjacent. And the catch with that was, all right, if they're not in their starting area, then they lose first turn immunity. And WizKids basically said, no.
Yeah.
No. And I think it's a great fix. They still allow the one unavoidable, but they said basically, no, they still have first turn immunity. So, and unavoidable gets through that, but they're saying, no, you can't just run up and shoot them.
Yeah.
And I think the reason people were so upset is because we finally had an exploit that basically helped against Hawkeye and against other things like Wales team lost Mini, which doesn't mean the team's bad, but it's losing Mini hurts.
Losing Mini first turn and you haven't even taken an action. You're down 90 points.
Exactly.
Is crucial in this meta that we're in right now, because you're seeing games won 20-10, or you're seeing games won by just very minimal margin. So if you go 90 points down and you haven't even picked a power, you haven't even moved, picked up a dice, and your opponent has scored 90 points, it's like, wait a minute, it's a little unfair.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think WizKids will unban the maps at some point.
I think so too. I think they're trying to work on something. I mean, they've got the ruling out. I think they will unban them.
Now,
It may take after retirement.
Yeah, I do think they'll unban them, but they might ban them again for nationals, because remember, they used to do a list for nationals of what maps are legal, and it wasn't necessarily the full WizKids list. There was other ones. They haven't done it in a few years.
I think that's coming.
Yeah,
I think it's needed.
Yeah, because the thing is as long as they communicate it well in advance, that's fine. And I hope they don't go so far as to ban their own maps that maybe have location bonuses, because I think that's an itch. Maps are maps. You try to say, all right, I want to be in open air, I want to be closed, but location bonuses, I mean, that's part of a build.
Yeah, that is. I mean, you're paying points for it.
Yeah.
You're paying 5 points for a location bonus. So.
Yeah, so I hope that doesn't come to play. But as of right now, those two maps are banned. So.
Yeah.
Do not try to take them to events. I think the National Air is, did they say legal for rock events? Is that what they ended up saying?
Yeah, I think Rock came out and said that it is legal for rock, but I don't know.
Yeah.
They're not part of my build. I would not waste a map on my team for those. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I have other maps that are accessible to me that I'm like, that are better for different matches that I'm gonna see. Like if you're gonna see whales, there's other maps that you could put them on that'll better your fight against them. Exactly. If you win map, So
exactly.
But by the way, I was just thinking about it. Going back to the news, we had the news on the new Cosmic Cube and the Infinity Gauntlet.
Oh yeah, we saw those.
We saw those.
Yeah, we didn't. Now, no dials or anything, but we did see they were 30 points.
30 points.
Yeah, hefty.
I'm telling you what. for 30 points, they better give you something amazing.
Yeah,
Because that's 3 Carnages. That's a Groot and a Flora. Like,
yeah, I think they're gonna give you a lot of stuff. They're gonna be indestructible because that'd be ridiculous. No one would ever play them if they weren't. But they're gonna be indestructible. They're gonna give you some good stuff. It's gonna be Cosmic Cube might give you something like you gain power cosmic. Like I think that's almost worth 30 points on its own. Just to say you can't be outwitted and you have willpower. So you basically have power cosmic. I mean, if you put that I would say that would almost be worth 30 points.
yeah. I mean, it's got to be good. I saw the point values about like Croaked. I was like, what in the world? A 30-point object? I was like, this is insane. Like, I feel like spending 12 points on an object is kind of risky, you know? Like, whew.
And I feel like they've been batting it out of the park with these objects. I mean, I've enjoyed almost every single one. Some of them are a little bit more finesse. Like, I like almost all the Earth X ones that we got. Even the Mini Slayer is great if played well. The Corvus Glaive that we just got in WKO kits, a lot of people are kind of soured on, but I think it's going to find its place because everyone was pretty much soured on the Proxima Midnight Spear.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, well, it could go in Hawkeye, okay, but it sucks otherwise. Which I still think once Hawkeye's retired, they're going to find, you know, there's going to be a figure or two that you're like, okay, this may be a lower point figure that can run up and make you immobile. Or you know, all right, this is my Star Fox Slayer or whatever to take out, to, you know, do that one penetrating. So I think, you know, there's going to be a figure that has 4 damage that you want to give this to, so that way if you roll 1, 2, or 3, you're still doing like 3 penetrating or whatever. It's I'd have to check the wording again, but I think it's like if you roll 1, 2, and 3, your damage is penetrating, and then 4, 5, 6, it does something else. I can't remember. So I think they've been knocking it out of the park. I think
we're gonna see objects for a very long time. I think that's their new way of giving us like a resource.
Yeah, and I am super thrilled to see what happens with these Mandarin rings.
Yeah.
And we'll talk a little bit more about that at our buy sell hold. But I am super thrilled with the Mandarin rings. I picked mine up the other day, and I can't wait to see what is in store.
Yeah, most definitely.
All right. Speaking of what's in store, what's coming to stores is that Rebirth has been on the horizon for a while now. I feel like the date's moved once or twice. I know it's moved up out a week. So right now, pre-releases start on April 3rd instead of this week. And the set releases on April 10th. So that means the set won't be legal till April 17th, which means most of your rock states won't have Rebirth in it. So that's good.
Yeah. I'm kind of sad that it got pushed back because April 4th is my birthday. And so now I have to play a DC pre-release on my birthday. And I don't care for DC. I love Wonder Woman, but I just don't care for DC that much. So I'm like, gosh dang it. Like, and of course we have to go. Like,
of course.
You cannot just not go to a pre-release.
Well, my local does Battle Royale pre-releases, which
that would suck.
Yeah, I'm not a personal fan of it. I get why they do it that way. I run events at one of our other stores occasionally, and so when I run our pre-releases, we do 2 booster sealed, so that way we have some flexibility between the 2 stores. So I'm excited. This is a set I don't have a brick pre-ordered. I don't plan to. I'm not a DC person. I like a lot of DC characters, but I just don't have one saved. Now, I'll probably end up in the long run technically buying a brick worth of boosters via sealed events, battle royales, but I'm not buying a brick just to have them. But besides all that, up until this recording, we have seen all of the Scott Porter videos, which I greatly enjoyed. Now that he's got that new setup, where he can show you the card very clear. He's got the 2 cameras in that hyper RPG studio in California. Which if no one's seen any of the Geek and Sundry stuff, it's good stuff, FYI. We've seen all those. We've seen all the other previews. What 2 or 3 figures are you pumped about that you hope you get when you have to go to that DC pre-release?
I know. One figure that I know I talked about this with a couple people at our WKO, but I'm really looking forward to Starfire.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is going to be awesome. I know some of the guys have pooped on her and said, nope, she ain't gonna be good. I'll tell you what, for 50 points, Ring Shot Pulse Wave with a stop click is awesome. I don't care who you are, that's awesome. And on her stop click, she has Charge, Flurry, Force Blast, Earthbound Neutralized. Like, that's good.
Any figure you get for 50 points has a stop click should deserve consideration. I feel like if it's got a stop click, you could do
she's
something.
Cosmic, so she could easily go on any Cosmic theme team. You know, all those Unimind lovers, Star Fox lovers. So I don't see her being played at 100.
Yeah.
But I think at 50, I think she's definitely going to be seen. She's quintessent. And she also has the Teen Titans team ability.
Yeah.
So that's just good for 50 points.
Absolutely.
So another one that I know that people talked about is Drowned. The Drowned.
Yeah. One of the chases from the Batman Metal.
Yeah, I think she's gonna be seen a lot. I would not particularly play her, but I know that she goes on the Whales team really well. So
yeah, well, that's true because
yeah.
Let's see, what does she do? She has stealth, and she makes water basically hindering terrain for line of fire purposes. So that means if you're just trying to shoot a whale that's in water, they're gonna get the bonus for being in water anyway, and then they're gonna get an extra bonus from the hindering, I believe. So it's kind of double bonuses.
Yeah, so now she also goes the Reckless Disregard for Life. Once per turn, when she targets and hits a single opposing character with a close attack, after resolutions, deal each other character that is adjacent to either the drowned or the target 1 penetrating damage. That includes friendly characters, so you kind of have to move her up.
Whales don't care. Whales don't care.
That's true.
They got invincible.
But you can kind of run her up. She's kind of like taking their place of like a mini almost.
Yeah.
Not the free damage. I mean, you run her up and she can like take out a couple colossals if you hit a Carnage and Carnage is next to a Surtur or. I mean, it's finesse. I think she'll be seen.
Yeah.
Let me see her point values. She's 75 points. She's got poison, super senses. So.
Yeah, you can. I mean, she has traded stealth. That she's gonna have the bonuses. She also has that we will not hide in the shadows anymore, and that's gonna give her some bonuses and defense.
And if you click her to click 5, her second click on the 75 point, she clicks into Empower, which whales love Empower.
Yep.
You know, so
basically another mini, and that's basically what everyone's looking for is who's gonna replace mini when rotation happens.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I didn't put that in here. We do know for a fact that rotation is happening July 1st. That puts it after Nationals. So that means you're going to have to deal with Hawkeye for Nationals. So that's just something to keep in mind. Not to interrupt your...
No.
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, I totally forgot about it too. And I mean, my take on that is that's stupid on WizKid's part, I think. But hey, I'm having a baby, so I'm not going to be at National, so I don't have to worry about that. But I think it's going to be, you're going to sit across, you'll be like, I'm Hawkeye. Oh, you're playing Hawkeye. Okay, let's roll for map. Oh, you won map? Okay, you won the game.
Well, I think, and Tyler brought this up in our group discussions, I think it is good for the game to do it this way. I as much as I enjoy everything rotating like a week or two before nationals, it's very much not inviting for new players. Someone who's like, oh, I'm gonna go compete, I'm gonna try to compete, and it's like, hey, all these pieces go away, it's a brand new meta, no one knows what's gonna happen, just start throwing spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. And that's good for top players, but not good for people that are trying to get into the game and compete competitively. This year, it's a little bit bad because Hawkeye is so.
But in my take from, but my rebuttal to that is a nationals level event. Like, I know they're trying to be inviting, but like, that's the true test of the top players. Is okay. We're gonna give you this meta for 2 weeks, and you're gonna have to figure out. You're gonna have to kind of guess what the meta's gonna be. That's the true test of top level play.
And you're still gonna get that though, because they are still regularly putting out sets 2 weeks before. We're getting, unless it, knock on wood, it gets pushed a little bit. We're getting Black Panther most likely a week to 2 weeks before. So you still get that flavor, but it's where they don't change up the meta so much all at once that no one knows what's going to stick, and then someone's going to play that one, last year with, what was it, Goblin King? Everyone knew Goblin King was good, and that was before he got. Well, no, last year wasn't Goblin King; it was the year before. The year before when Goblin King came out, and it was with What If. And it was just kind of, no one knew how good he was going to be, but he ended up helping Howard win because of a Goblin King. So I
don't know.
I think it's just too much changing at once to do rotation and a new set. Welcome to Nationals.
I just think people are kind of deterred a little bit now from going to Nationals because they're just be like, well, I'm going to face Hawkeye, Wales, Uni, Don't Die. Like, you can literally name like the top 5 teams.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's gonna be the off the wall team. I mean, there'll be the Penguins, there'll be Green Arrow, be the weird Hulk teams and Avengers. But I mean, it's the top players are gonna play the same teams. So it's literally gonna come down to who wins map.
Yeah. And I honestly think that's just a this year problem, because I don't feel like we've had as an oppressive team outside of Felix before, Faust before.
Yeah.
A team that's just so oppressive. Like, Shredders were pretty bad, but you have Invincible, you can take care of it. Unimind was pretty bad, but we had Nighthawk for a while who could, tailor him back a little bit.
We had Green Arrow off the ID card.
Right, Green Arrow off the ID card. Like that, everyone had counters, and Hawkeye, which we could talk about a little bit later, doesn't have a ton of those. So
yeah,
I think it's a good change. I do. I think this year it's going to suck, but next year I think it's going to be better as long as we don't get more broken figs. Speaking of getting more broken figs, besides the Drowned and Starfire, did you have any other figures in Rebirth?
I think Mr. Oz is going to be another big figure you're going to see. He just is really freaking good. 40 points. A 40-point figure, and he's awesome.
Yeah, he messes around with your TK. If you use TK, you get to move the figure one space. I think, isn't that after he TKs or something? So he can screw up how you're trying to get those objects.
So whenever character is placed by TK, after resolutions, you may place that character within 2 squares in line of fire of their current square. So if they're TKing onto a symbiote or an exo or anything that's like immobile or something, or even TKing out to I'm going to TK out 6 to shoot an object or even to do a running shot. Okay, well, I'm going to move you 2 squares back. So now kind of have to change your whole dynamic of.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It could hurt Hawkeye Because he may have to put some perplexes into indoor movement instead of attack. If
Yeah, that's true.
if you TK up 6 and he's counting on the 6 to maybe hit back row.
Yeah.
With his TK up 6, running shot 4.
Yeah, I
So-
mean the biggest thing, it hurts Chase Jean,
Yep.
I think, because her free TK2, like she'll still be able to get herself off the board because you do that after you place, right? Is it after resolutions that you get to move?
Yes, after resolution. So you're
It
basically
says-
TKing off the board and you're off the board.
Right, because that happens immediately, I believe.
Yeah.
Is the wording. So I would have to double check that, but I'm pretty confident it's as soon as you place, even before after actions resolve, she is out of your range for the within 5, and she's immediately gone.
And then his special damage power
Mm-hmm.
on his on 40 point, he's got the free place Mr. Oz in a square within 6 squares,
Mhm.
which is dope. Like, okay, here's this guy that's gonna voop over.
Yeah.
His special TK power is only on his 100-point dial.
Yeah.
So that's kind of risky for 100 points. But for 40 points, he's also given you his damage power is prop control with a range of 12. And he can
that's
see
so short.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like only like half the map, no problem. But you can move him within 6 squares. You have a range of 12 prob. He sees through blocking, elevated, and characters.
Yep.
That is like gross for 40 points. And he's got shape change. And he's got 11 attack inside 4 damage. So he can actually do stuff. Like you can move him within 6, shoot from 7 away with Pinsai 4 damage, most likely wounding something severely and or killing something small, and then you still have a prob from 12 away. So
That's insane.
it's pretty good. So those are my 3 that I've looked up, and I think the one person I will play the most is Starfire.
Yeah, I think you'll see a lot of Mr. Oz. You know, playing him with Unseen is just like a very oppressive team where it's like, all right, you've got to go through 2 far away probs that can see through almost everything.
Yeah.
They're like stopping your TK, moving you on TK. They're making your colossal retiles worse, and they're only like 100 points or 105 points. Like,
Mr. Oz is also Cosmic.
Yep.
So he's gonna fit right there on that Unimind team, or like getting the Star Fox, stuff like that. And he starts off on a stop click of Invincible.
Yep.
So I mean that's pretty good.
Definitely good.
So
The figures I liked in the set, I did start liking a lot of the figures in the early previews, and then we got to the Scott Porter ones, and I realized why they didn't preview as many, because there's a lot of ho-hum figures. The Teen Titans, they're kind of subpar for Teen Titans. They work really well together, but most of them have a Defiance version of them, which is when they're on the Deathstroke team. And I feel like the Defiance version of almost all these figures is vastly superior. But that being said, so figures that I like, I really like the super rare Deathstroke. I have a soft heart for speedsters, which is what this version of Deathstroke is. He basically has the Speed Force. He has hypersonic. When he moves at least 1 square and hits 1 or more adjacent characters, he gets a speed token. When he has a speed token, his defense goes up by 1 against range attacks. If he uses hypersonic and removes a speed token, he may be given a close or range action at no cost instead of making an attack. So if you give him Exospecs or something like that, you could technically hypersonic pulse wave after you've already hit someone once. I don't know if he's actually going to be meta worthy, because speedsters typically aren't, thanks to stupid Colossal Retaliation. I was hoping it was a mechanic that'd go away, because speedsters could come back.
Yeah.
But they can't because it's like, haha, I speed away and hit you, run away. Oh, it's a colossal. But he's not bad. He's a beefy boy at 150 and not only 7 clicks, and he's got toughness, so he's not, he's risky, but he's a wild card, so you got some toys to play with. I think he's more casual than meta, but he's definitely a piece I'm probably going to try to get because I genuinely like speedsters.
He'll be great and sealed.
Oh yeah, he's going to be dumb and sealed.
I mean,
because
yeah,
you don't
he'll
have retail.
Yeah, you don't have any retails on that, but I think he'll be definitely, if you pull him in sealed, you'll be able to clean up because a lot of pieces are going to be slow going, and if you have a speedster, you can just kind of run up, kill something small, and say, "Okay, come to me now." So.
Oh yeah. Two other pieces I wanted to point out. One that's gotten a lot of kind of flack on Facebook, and I don't know why. Prez Ricard. He's only got the politician keyword, but he is only 30 points, I believe. 35 points. He does not count for or against theme teams, so that's big. You can put him on any team. But he's got leadership, but succeeds on a 4 through 6, so that's great.
That's awesome.
When he uses it and succeeds, instead, you may remove one action token each from any number of opposing characters. For each one removed, remove an action token from a friendly character within 6. So, I don't know. Instead of you may remove from. So that's basically like from across the board, right? So, because it doesn't say you may remove one action token from each from any number of opposing characters. It doesn't say within range. Does not say it has to be adjacent. And I may be wrong, but if I'm thinking this right, he could technically, if you're across the board fighting with somebody, I could remove that opposing's action token, and because I do, I remove an action token from a friendly character within, I guess within 6 of him, I guess is the
Yeah. So if you take off 3 tokens from your opposing, so you take one off of like 3 of different characters, then you can then undouble token one of your characters and take another token off another thing. If they're within 6,
yeah, I guess so.
That could be kind of. That would be kind of good for, I guess, like Uni, who has to take a couple actions to equip or.
Yeah, I think it benefits tent poles, especially if you're not worried about taking a lot of damage, or if it's something like you remove an action token from a lower point figure, someone that you don't really care about on their team, and then remove it from anyone within 6 on yours. I mean, it's going to have its own. It's going to have its uses.
Yeah, I can see it being useful. I think it's just going to take that right situation, because sometimes with the game is pacing actions.
Yeah.
Like you could be like, I could really just double token my figure and kill something, but then you have to think like, okay, they have 2 actions. Do I want to go to 2 actions because they're going to clear, then I'm going to have to clear. That's going to give them the action ahead of me, So
Exactly.
it could mess with that theory of gameplay.
One other figure I'm only gonna hit up 2 because I'm not super thrilled with. Well, no, that I've done 2. Let me do my third one. I forgot about Deathstroke. My third one is Shade the Changing Girl.
Okay.
Follow me on this. So I really like her shape change power. I think it's gonna create a lot of problems because there's not a mechanic like this, and that's shape change. When Shade the Changing Girl uses it and succeeds, you may change the target to a character friendly to the attacking character. Target must be otherwise legal. So that means if Hawkeye was stupid enough to target her and she rolls shape change, you could change his target to one of his own people. Now he couldn't target us. He couldn't target himself because I don't think that's. They put in there target must must be otherwise legal, and you can't target yourself with an attack. You could target yourself with other things, but I think in the rulebook it says you can't. Attacks don't work that way. So he couldn't like shoot himself, even though that would be hilarious. But you could Uni come up and try to attack Shade, which I don't know why you would with this power unless you have Battle Fury, and then Uni say you do that, and suddenly Uni turns around and shoots your Groot or shoots Unseen or some of your other pieces. I think it's cool because it makes it where you don't really want to shoot her unless you got Battle Fury because it's a risk.
It's a super big risk.
Yeah, she's only 45 points. She also has phasing, teleport, plasticity, power, action, place, Shade the Changing Girl in any square with an unheld object. So she could just whoop. First turn, you put an object out there, like a heavy in the middle of the map. Whoop. Power action, she's out there. She's just in the middle of the field. Because it says, place Shade the Changing Girl in any square with an unheld object.
Yeah. She's a good place to put out there to tie them up, to kind of be like, I don't like to use the word bait, but kind of like put her out there and be like, because people may not know.
Yeah.
People may not like, oh, who's this chick? Oh, okay, I'm just going to try to shoot her, and then you hit shape change, and it's like, well, now you can just shoot your starter.
Yeah. And additionally, it says she has a perplex, but only to target opposing characters. This is a special perplex. She does not get this until click 4, I think. But only to target opposing characters. When she uses it, she may instead modify combat value other than damage -2 instead of -1. Top click, she just has normal. That movement ability, she has poison. She only has willpower as a defense power, so that kind of sucks. She's only 45 points. She's got 6 clicks. Doing pretty darn good. 6 clicks for 45 points. And she has perplex. So in my head, I'm giving her the beetle booty to make her a flyer, even though she has phasing, so she can carry somebody. Gives her toughness and gives her a 12 movement. So I can use her as a taxi to carry someone. She's also got the cosmic keyword. The only keyword she has is cosmic. She could pick someone up, carry him out onto the field, stand in front of him to be the bodyguard. And if you lose her, oh well, it's 45 points. But they're gonna have to do 6 damage. So
yeah,
she's gonna trade a shape change. I mean, she's a big target to put out there. I mean, will she see meta play? Maybe. I mean, I'm gonna probably see what I could do with her, but I think she's a cool piece to put on an already hefty cosmic team. That if you give her an object, and even if you don't, she has some, that shape change thing I think is going to be more dangerous than people think, because you're just not going to want to target her unless you have Battle Fury, because it's risky.
Super risky. Now, my thing is I think looking ahead, I feel like the 2 big name theme teams that are getting the biggest push are Cosmic and Monster.
Yeah.
And it's like these things don't need the boost, people. You know, they already are good. Like, we don't need more stuff that makes them even better. So, yep. I mean,
I do think Soldier is probably the next one I'm looking for, because the thing Soldier was missing most was a taxi, and we have one now in Coulson. So I mean, I can't wait. And
by the way, he is actually really good.
Oh, like, yes.
I did not know how good he was until I played against him. Jeremy, our teammate, played him. And I was like, okay, it's a Coulson. Like, okay, you're going to run over. And then he was like, I get to pick a power. And I'm like, what? And then he's got a freaking stop click. And I'm like, what? I was like, what?
Yeah, because you see it.
I was like, give me his card. I need to see his card.
Yeah, because you see him and you're like, 75 points. Ooh, that's super pricey for a taxi. And then you look at all what he could do, and it's like, oh, he could pick any of the damage powers or whatever with his whatever it's called, those tokens that he has on.
Yeah.
He's got leadership. He's got that stop click. He's got a lot for 75 points, and he gives Soldier the taxi they have been needing for such a long time.
Yeah.
So I'm super thrilled about it. Now, let me do this right. Boop, 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 boop. Hot off the presses. in the middle of this recording, I have learned some news that is broke 2 hours ago, and I'm just not up to date. The X-Men animated series Dark Phoenix Saga is based off of the Avengers Infinity Colossal Boosters. That is in the solicit. There are going to be 80 new figures, 12 commons, 12 uncommons, 10 rares, 10 super rares, 6 chases, all with prime ratings. And then there are going to be 10 uncommon, 10 rare, 5 super rare, 2x2 click space figures with their own primes.
Oh my gosh.
I think this is amazing because regardless of, I didn't like Avengers Infinity as the set, and that's just because I didn't really click with a lot of the figures. But I liked the way they did the boosters. I mean, it kind of sucked. Some of the figures broke because, you know, they didn't really stick them in the little figures that well. And those
here's my thing is, like, if you're going to put bubble wrap in them, then put the figures in the bubble wrap.
Tape it
like,
or something.
It's just like, you would get like 2 things of bubble wrap just empty, and your figures are just floating around like, this is bad quality. Like,
but that being said, I thought those boosters were super cool, and I am super thrilled that they are doing it again. Like, they got enough feedback, and it is not a stupid super booster where you've got one booster, and if you weren't the lucky person to get to your store in time to buy it or to wheel and deal and be like, hey owner, I'll pay you $20 for that and pull a Carnage, this is great. This is great news. So
I know, but now we're gonna end up with like a ton of freaking common colossals that are just like, I mean, I think Dale and I literally took a tub to Nationals last year to Troll and Toad, and we actually just gave them the tub because I was like, I'm not taking this back up to the car. I mean, and they're giving us, you know, like $1 for them. I'm like, I don't care at this point. Like, we had so many just Jakars and weird colossals. I was like, you're never gonna see this played. Like, we do not need 15 of them. So,
but see, here's where it's going to be great for you in like 2 to 3 years. Your child is going to want to play with HeroClix and is going to see mommy and daddy's really big HeroClix up on the shelf and be like, I want to play with that. And that's when you're like, here, little Theo, here is a Jakar. It's your own colossal.
Yeah.
You get to play with it. He's so strong. Because my kids look at the figures and they're like, he only does 2 damage. He's weak. Because I haven't really explained special powers and all that to them yet. And so I've played a game against them where I played the Hulk and the Red Hulk from that set. And I said, they're the Hulk brothers. They're going to take you down. And that's where you're going to see it, is when you're playing with the kids and they're, you know, he's only like 3 years old and he's kind of into it. And you just give him this big figure that almost looks like an action figure, but it's not. And you'll be like, here, I've got so many of these. Here's a bunch of Nimrods or whatever. Or
well, at least it's going to be X-Men related, so it's going to be a little bit more like relatable to people.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the AI said, I was like, I really don't care about this figure. Like, I don't know who it is, and just you kind of just push off to the side. You were like, I need a group, people.
Now I do want to credit this news is on HC Realms. It was Zalpa, Zalpa is the one who posted the solicit information on Realms, so I want to make sure that person got the credit that they deserve.
Yeah, we're just pretty much gonna go broke in summer.
Basically.
Like, people are just gonna have to start selling their body, I guess.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, I mean, I think Lane already does so.
Yeah, I think Lane is pretty good at that. So
he'll bring out Senor Queso, and he'll be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I need Senor Queso to come to more tournaments.
All right, so let's talk about some of the upcoming events. We don't have a ton, believe it or not, to talk about. We have a couple big ones to talk about in March. March 30th, there's a regional at Heroes and Games in Columbus, Ohio. Additionally, there is a regional at TBS Comics in Pensacola, Florida on March 31st. You know what? I know that they play in a store, but I think it'd be fun to be able to play like in a store that had beach view. Wouldn't that be pretty sweet to be able to hear the waves and play?
That would be cool. I think it's really cool that they're actually having a circuit down there.
Oh yeah.
Because for so long they didn't have anything down in Florida. I think is it Warren Jen that's kind of heading that up over there?
Oh yeah. I think he is.
So
I will
props
say
to him for getting that all started and doing that in that region. So
yeah, and just a heads up for those down in Pensacola and whatnot. If you guys could run another qualifier regional down in like on the 12th or the 18th of May, that'd be great because I may or may not be going down for vacation, and that'd be sweet.
and Alex needs to get away from his 4 kids.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll take the wife to the beach and I'm gonna go play a Hero Clicks turn.
Yeah,
You
I don't
sound
know
like you're sounding like Daniel right now. Like he plans vacations. He's like, hold on, we can probably go here, but let me see if they're gonna have a tournament. It's like we can go on vacation for vacation. Like
yeah, because we've gone down there over the past couple years, and every time I'm like, oh, I'll meet up with Lane down there, but it's like I can't get away from the family like as a go and play HeroClix. If it's just the meet up with one person and be like, hey, I'm gonna go hang out. If it was more like there's a tournament going on, I'll take the 2 older kids and they can watch, then I probably could get away. But it's so just listening in May, closer to Memorial Day, that kind of stuff. I'll throw something. I'd be down. That might be when the spring WKOs are anyway. So
there you go. Maybe we'll hit one of those up.
Additionally, we have a Rock Online qualifier, not this Saturday, but next, so the 30th. That's a Saturday, and we're gonna do it at 2 p.m. Eastern. So I'm gonna test and see how popular this is. I know I already said there's a regional in Columbus, but I want to see how we're kind of testing out different days. We're doing some winning maps on Thursdays in April, so I'm kind of just playing the field because weekends are getting so busy with Clixed events, but I don't want to neglect the people who live in an area that can't travel. So we'll see how that goes.
You're killing me, Smalls, on these online because Thursday nights are Clicks night, and then every Saturday you've picked, I have like baby shower or birthday party, and I'm just like, and we're in our chat, and I'm like, Alex, you're killing me. Like I want to play in these, I want to support you, but I can't.
Well, maybe when you're on maternity leave, you'll be.
I know. That's what Dion says. He's like, you're gonna have all these online tournaments like signed up. I'm like, pretty much, yeah. I'll be playing everything I can.
You're gonna be like, here you go, Dan, and hand him the baby. Like, I'm just gonna go in the other room now.
Yeah.
So April is chock full of Rock State events. I really am not gonna go into every single one of them because every state and almost every province in Canada, I think, has one.
Yeah.
Just check out the Rock website. They're mostly in the first 2 weeks. Starting April 6th and then April 13th and 14th. There might be some later. I think there's one later in the month or two. Go to the Rock website. All of them are listed now. I know Howard has linked it in most of the HeroClix groups. Go see which ones you could go to, because you might be able to go to multiple. Now, keep in mind, this time around, States is constructed. They have mentioned that they are going to do a sealed States tournament, but that most likely won't be coming until later in the year. So I'm guessing probably around August, July or August. But pricing for these States tournaments is pretty awesome. For this go around, we have the Mighty Thor Chase and Prime figures. So if you win first, you get to choose whichever Chase you want. You get a box Con LE, an ID
or
card,
a Prime. They can pick a Prime
if they're dumb. And then they also get a prize map, which I've heard the state maps are pretty sweet too, from what I hear.
And Howard just released the rock dice, picture of the rock dice.
Yeah, they're like a bumblebee type color, like black,
solid black with yellow dots.
Yeah, I like the style, simple.
Yeah.
But that's pretty sweet Thor stuff, and I'm eager to see what the next States is going to be. But that pricing for the Thor Chase and Primes go all the way to 12th place. Though if you're in 12th place, you're probably getting Red Leader or something. Who is the uncommon prime? Or he was the uncommon prime. Who, man, I don't even remember that was eons ago. Let me look. Let's see. No, Red Leader was the common prime. You had Scourge. You're gonna get Scourge.
Yeah, you're getting Scourge Prime.
Because Red Leader is quite a bit better than Scourge. But you got Odin the Destroyer was a rare prime who was good. Angela was actually pretty decent for a super rare prime.
Yeah.
And then every other chase is going to be taken. So if you're in 12th place, hey, at least you're getting a Scourge. He's not terrible. But hey, if you're in 12th, I mean, that's pretty good that you're getting something
Yeah.
at 12.
Yeah.
Everyone over 12, all participants, actually says all participants 9th and onward, you'll get 1 WKO point also, which we won't get into WKO points because I don't want to start stuff like that talking about it.
Yeah, that's a whole nother episode. It's like crazy.
But remember, if constructed is not your thing, because I know a lot of people like Lane Miller prefers sealed.
Yeah, Lane loves sealed.
He
just doesn't. He doesn't. I think he secretly probably goes to bed with a sealed booster every night, and he just
basically.
Yeah.
I think he pretty much today said that he doesn't ever practice a team, and he just shows up at an event and just plays a team.
Yeah.
Which
yeah.
I only assume he gets from 2 boosters and just plays, even at constructed events.
Yeah.
Amazing.
You get. We told him he gets a mini shredder. And he gets 2 boosters. That's it.
Yep. Yep.
So.
And we'll see what he does next time. Other than that, though, it's a pretty quiet month. We've got a qualifier in Kissimmee, Florida on April 13th at House Rules Gaming. But I think because of Easter falling in the middle of the month, it's going to be, you got states and then you kind of got a little bit of a lull till May, which I assume we'll hear soon about spring WKOs, because I assume they will fall more into mid-May. They've always been pretty much in May because Nationals is right around the corner in June.
Yeah,
so,
and they'll want to run some WizKids events to kind of get the hype up for Nationals.
Yeah, exactly.
So
anyway,
yeah,
that's
go support your stores for states for sure, and try to go to multiples. I can't actually go to any of them, and I'm kind of bummed.
Yeah, I'm iffy on one, and that's only my wife has started singing. She's in an opera, and so because I've been traveling for multiple events, I'm kind of like, she's like, all right, it's my turn.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Dale and the guys I think are going to 3.
yeah.
And I can't. I can possibly make 1, but I would have to do a lot of finagling, and it's just.
Yeah.
It's almost too much work to finagle.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm hoping to go to maybe 1, but it would be a hassle if I did, so I'm really debating it.
Yeah.
With that being said, let's we've talked a lot about click number 1, so let's go ahead to click number 2, tournament reports and analysis.
Click 2, tournament reports and analysis.
All right, Sam, give me the lowdown. What has been going on with tournaments lately? What is everyone playing that you have found interesting? If you start saying only Hawkeye, I am leaving the show. The show is over.
Hold on. We got Wales.
We got
Tyler
Wales?
went with
Okay.
Wales.
Tyler went with Wales.
Tyler
Stop
won.
the presses.
I know. Don't get me started on that.
Hey, I do not fault him whatsoever. If it works and it's your thing.
If it's not broken, play it. It's not broken, play it. But there was a bunch of WKOs going on. And there was some really interesting teams. So like Mike Eskew from Little Rock won with Groot, Unseen, Starro, a mini shredder, some ID cards with the mirror, and I was like, okay, how does this work? And I was like, oh, I can actually see it working. So I guess he's been playing it for a while. So congrats to Mike on the winning that with that. Lucas Tomlin and Holland won with the Tri-Sentinel team, which again, a couple episodes ago I said Tri-Sentinels are gonna be good.
Yep.
People need to touch base with them because they're good. He won with 4 Tri-Sentinels, 2 Green Lanterns that have the walls, and Alex Wilder, Sheriff Strange, Exospecs, and ID cards.
Yeah.
So,
and that team's only going to get better because we're getting a lot more mystical pieces in Rebirth.
Mhm.
So mystical is growing. It's not quite to the I say it may be quite to the world's
Daredevil's
finest
mystical,
level.
right? Yeah, Daredevil's mystical.
Yeah, because I remember mystical was huge back in the day of like world's finest because you had Tikal, what's his name? Blah 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 blah. A blanket. It starts with a K. What was his name? Clarion, the Witch Boy, and Tikal. And so you had a bunch of mystical teens rolling around, and it was a big to do. And then it kind of, WizKids kind of forgot it was a keyword for a while. I guess they got it confused with Cosmic, and just went really hard into Cosmic. And then they're like, "Oh crap! Yeah, no,
we need to get some mystical back.
Yeah, we've got a mystical keyword, and we need to use it.
Yeah,
because it's coming on strong, and that's awesome. I think.
And of course, people are like, "Well, Hawkeye just beats it." Well, Hawkeye has a hard time because the Tri-Sentinels have ESD, and then you got Perplexes going like crazy, and like he's still gonna have to roll a 7, possibly. And to all those people that say, "Well, I can roll a 7," I want you to roll your dice and roll consecutive 4 7s with no prop.
Yeah. Now I will, for the sake of them making that argument, 7 is, I think, statistically the most likely number you could roll with 2 d6s. But
I know, but when you need a 7, you ain't gonna roll a 7.
That's true.
When you need a 4, you ain't gonna roll a 4. I don't care who you are.
Very true.
Dustin Cedars won with the Mystical +5 team with 2 Sheriff Stranges, 2 Green Lanterns, Al Jordan, the Deadpool Jet, which you don't see very often. He played with the Rachel Summers ID card.
To get some running shot to the
Sheriff Stranges, I would assume.
Makes sense.
So I thought that was really cool. Dustin always plays those weird kind of teams that always work. Jesse Cote played the Don't Die team and won with it. The typical Don't Die, I think, is pretty similar to your team. He did have Unseen on there, so I don't think you had Unseen.
I did not, no.
But he played with the Unseen version. We had a guy play in Youngstown, Arizona. His name on Facebook was Van Tassel. I'm not sure if that's his real name. If it is, it's cool. He played with 250 Black Panther, Corrupt GCPD Cop, map bonus, and the 4-point symbiote. So very straightforward. Hard to kill Black Panther, a Corrupt GCPD Cop that's gonna just... He's sending out probably to... Okay, you killed it, but you're not scoring any points.
Yeah.
The Tulsa Regional. There was a regional that was won by Caleb Reddick. And he played the Ultra Chase. It was a +5 Cosmic. So he played with the Captain Marvel, Ultra Chase, Unseen, Groot Flora, Exos, Wakanda map bonus, and ID cards. And so I thought that was very interesting to see that form of Cosmic.
Yeah, but I don't really want him to win with an Ultra Chase because I would like the Ultra Chase to get to a reasonable level for me to get one. And then after that, it can become more
it could
popular.
win.
Yeah, after that.
Yeah, I think it'll be seen more once more people get their hands on it. I think it's definitely playable. And then I was looking over in overseas because, you know, like here in the US, like we see the Hawkeyes, we see the Uniminds, those are going to be strong and win tournaments. But over in Italy, a Prime Vulture team won.
Oh, here comes that Vulture.
Prime Vulture, a 40-point Firestorm. I'm assuming it's the BTAS one.
Yeah.
BTAS Scarecrow, Lieutenant Kyle, 2 Groots, 4 Big Toadies, Arms, a tank, and a Harley ID.
Hmm.
So he's got like a ton of perplex, and I think he's just carrying over and doing his thing with Prime Vulture.
Yeah, Prime Vulture's a thing. He's only 50 points. I almost wish he wasn't a Prime. So
I know that's the kind of downfall, but I think for what he does, he kind of needs to be a Prime.
yeah.
Because knowing WizKids, they would be like, "Here's this rare that does this like infinite flurry." Be like most expensive rare ever. And then over in England, they had a different kind of Avengers team that won. He was playing Photon,
Ooh.
Chase Photon, Captain America Resilient, the Fast Forces Hulk, 4 Giant Girls, Exospecs, 6 ID cards, and the boxing ring. So, I'm assuming he was putting Exo on Hulk, and using Captain America to move Hulk for free, and running over there, probably picking Hypersonic, so he could Hypersonic in, move Quake.
It makes sense.
So
that's the popular combo now. That's what all the cool kids are playing nowadays.
yeah, that's what all the cool kids. And now there's Karath out there that makes it even better.
That's
Depends on
debatable.
that depends on who you talk to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there was a lot of interesting teams out there, and I think it's really cool to see what's being played, what's winning. Cosmic, like we said, Cosmic's getting a big push, and there's 3 or 4 different kinds of Cosmic teams. People think Cosmic, they think, oh, it's Unimind. Well, no, not necessarily. Like, there's other Cosmic teams out there that are good.
Yes, definitely.
But yeah, it was interesting to go through these reports and see, like, I want to know, like, I almost wish they had, like, video of their matches, like, to see, like, how did you play that?
Yeah, it's something that I've been wanting for a long time. Like, whenever you're playing something like video games, like you're playing League of Legends or you're playing Path of Exile, like some of the bigger games that have where you have builds and you're like, all right, this is how I'm going to play this character. There's websites out there, or there's links that show you like maybe a video, or they show you, they write out exactly how it works. And I wish we had something like that with HeroClix. I think you see a lot of these different teams that are very random win, and I think a lot of it has to do with how comfortable the players are with the team. Like, Lucas plays the Tri-Sentinels very well because he's been working on that team for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
And so he is very fluent in that team. So if, Sam, you were to pick up that team today and just tomorrow you go to an event and you're just going to play it, you'd probably be doing decent, but you're probably not going to play it as well as Lucas would, because he has the experience. He knows exactly what he's doing with the map. He's already game planned all the matchups as well as he could. So it's just, if you got a cool idea and you're not sure it works, just start practicing. Just get that team out there onto the map.
I think it's good for, we try to get all the tournament reports out there. We try to get, like, hey, like, Daniel usually post the winners and post their build sheets. And if you're on the fence of like, man, I'm sick of playing this one team, I want to play something different, look at these build sheets and get the team out and start playing with it, and make it your own almost. Like, I mean, I know I've taken a couple of these teams and I'm like, I think this would be better, and I've played around with them and I'm just like, oh yeah, that does work. I mean, I can see how theirs work, but I like this better for my team. And that way you can just go have fun, like, so.
And additionally, the HeroClix community is so amazing that if you do see someone win with a team, don't be afraid to try to reach out to them and ask them about it. I've done that countless times. Mm-hmm. And like, if I see PJ's one of the most open people I've ever talked to about a team. If I see him win with a team, I'll send him a message and be like, all right, tell me how this team played, because I like what you're doing on paper, but I want to know how it worked.
Yeah.
And he'll go into detail, and that happens to a lot of HeroClix players. Now, you might encounter one or two who don't respond, but most people are like, they're proud that someone's coming out and wanting to know how their team works. So
Yeah. I mean, like I've been playing the uni for a little while. Just kind of getting my feet wet with it again. And I've had people contact me, like I haven't been winning with it, but people have been like, "Hey, why'd you do this with the Eternals, or why are you doing this?" And it's like, yeah, message the people. Like, they're gonna have the most insight, and if they want to be a butthead and not respond, or want to be super secretive, then I mean, that's just not part of the community that I want to be a part of. So I just want to be more like, we're here to help each other, we're here to help and get this out in the open, and because again, it's going to get more of the new players out there. It's going to it's just like when we played in the WKO, I played it. I don't know his name. I know he listens to the show. He's from Illinois. Daniel knows his name. I played him on the stream. He's a super nice guy. And he was playing a team that was like, it had the Hulk and Hellion and Unseen and, gosh, I think Sheriff Strange. Yeah, Sheriff Strange. So I'm sitting across from this team and I'm like, okay, he's got the good theory. Like, he's got a good mindset. And like, I was like legit kind of scared because I'm like, okay, now I have to worry about Unseen is hard to kill. I'm gonna have to deal with this Hulk first because Hulk's gonna come over here and smash my face in. And he didn't have any ID cards. He's just getting started. But after the match, like I took time. I'm like, hey, I would have done this different. Like, like this is what I saw that I thought you were going to do and you didn't. So like, and he was like, oh, I didn't even think about that. Like, that's also good to do. If you wipe your opponent, or if you have a close game, it's also good to just talk to your opponent about the game. Like, even if you lost, be like, is there something that you saw that I didn't see?
Yeah.
That's how you're going to learn.
Exactly.
Or if they may say you made this huge mistake turn 2 that cost you the game, you will never make that mistake ever again.
Yeah.
Like, so
now, you may not want to try to do that immediately after the game if you won and they lost. Like, I find myself more successful if it's like closer to the end of the tournament, if you're both out, or you hit them up later, because it could come across a little weird if like I beat you and then I'm like, hey, you totally should have done this. I might not be in a good place if you're trying to teach me about my team. Like, it depends on how I lost.
You kind of gauge your opponent. Like, if they're like upset, like you're not like, but I haven't ran into anybody like that. I'm usually kind of like, they're like, usually people ask me like, what could I have done different? Or I even ask like, what could I have done different? Like, did I just not see something? And it's just really good to talk with your opponent, because people looking from the outside in will always have something to say about, you did this wrong. But when you're in the moment of the game and you have your opponent in the moment of the game, like, you both might be thinking different things.
Yeah.
And so it's also good to feedback, and that helps you prepare for your next matchup and your next games, because you may face the same kind of thing and be like, I'm not going to make that same mistake again. So,
exactly.
Yeah, but there's my spiel.
All right. Well, the other thing I want to talk about in this click is something that I feel goes neglected a bit when it comes to tournaments. Tournaments are a little bit hectic. You usually don't have a lot of time in between rounds. You see the pairings. You go find your table. You sit down. You wait for your person to show up. You guys roll off. Usually you're in tight quarters, so you're trying to get all your people on the field. But I want to talk a little bit about game setup and what the rules say and what you should be doing during game setup, because I feel like this is probably the most neglected part of a HeroClix match, is the actual steps to game setup. So you've seen your pairing. You go to the table. You guys go ahead and roll off. Whoever wins usually chooses map. They don't usually pass, but there might be scenarios where you do. Per the rule book, this is what it says. So you reveal the starting forces and establish first player. So everyone, here's my team, here's my team, here's my build sheet. You look at them. You make sure all your dials are to where they should be. You establish theme teams. You roll a 2d6. The one with the higher result gets to choose who the first player is. For any simultaneous effects, this is from the rulebook, that need ordering before the first turn begins, the first player is considered the active player. Then you go to step 2. You choose map and starting areas. The squares inside the purple boundary on the map is starting area. And then you go into the whole colossal thing, which they clarified before about, you have to put the big figures first, and then you expand, which is, I think, big, because I hated it before. Like, when I played you last year in the Rock Cup, I knew how your team worked because I've seen you play it, so it wasn't that big of a deal.
Are we teammates, Alex? Like, did we practice that online or something?
Yeah, a little bit.
Just a little bit.
But you knew down to a science. You had this many giant girls, and your starting area was going to expand this much. I, as your opponent, have to trust that you are doing it correctly, because the way the setup used to be is you already knew how much your team was going to fill up the starting area, and you were going to expand. This before the colossal changes a couple months ago. So I guess I could say, hey, I need you to try to fill the starting area first so I could see that you expand. That never happens. That's why I love the colossal clarification that they made, where you have to fill with your colossals first. That way I can visually see, okay, yeah, you are expanding because you take up that much room. Sure, I can see that you have 10 colossals and that's going to happen, but usually you don't put the colossals in the starting area. You spread them out in the expanded starting area, and they're all over the place. So that's one of the reasons I love the change. But for step 2, you choose the map, you do the starting areas, you see if you expand the starting areas by columns, everything like that. Step 3, place characters and other game elements. The first player must first place all their characters in the starting area squares, and any non-object additional game elements, either in their starting area squares or off the map as appropriate. The second player then does the same. The first player then places all objects on the starting force, and then the second player does the same. Per the comprehensive, and the main reason I'm bringing this up is because there's a lot of gray areas surrounding special terrain. Special terrain has changed multiple times, and there's not really a clear-cut... There's a pretty clear-cut answer, but there's not a clear-cut reason in the rulebook. Per this, you put additional game elements after you place characters. Per the comprehensive rulebook, it says for special terrain in step 2 of the beginning of the game phase, just after the first player has chosen the map, the second player, note not the first player, and then others in turn get the chance to play special terrain. So the comprehensive basically makes it sound like you put down special terrain before you put down figures.
Yeah, that's what I figured too. But I mean, to be honest, it never runs that way. But
right, and that's not how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I know. I wish it would. I know that at tournaments, like, they're trying to get you in, they're trying to get you out. They don't want to be there. It's too late. But they do this for a reason. They put this in the rule book for a reason, and it's important to some matchups, because I know there's just been times I've sat down and it's like I've won map, and my opponent is already in their starting area with their objects placed, in terrain placed, and I haven't even got my figures out of my box yet.
Yep.
I'm like, wait a minute, like, this isn't really like how it's supposed to go. Like, because that could change how you set your objects, and how you set your terrain can set up how I set my figures. That could set up how I fit my objects. Like, that could change my first turn.
Exactly.
But especially,
it actually gets a little bit cloudier, because we got a bunch of new special terrain in the Avengers Affinity set,
Mm-hmm.
And per their card, the rule book is incorrect. Per their card, it says here, special terrain must be placed at least 3 squares from any starting area. Can't be placed over squares of different elevations. Starting force can only have 1 special terrain. The player not choosing the map gets to place special terrain first before placing objects. So you can argue, okay, well, if you place it before figures, that's technically placing it before objects. And I'm going to tell you, while that's correct, that is not the intent of this. Basically, what they're saying with this is that special terrain should be placed after figures, but before objects. And the reason that I'm arguing this is because colossal clarifications makes this even more relevant. Because if you do it before figures, that means technically, in certain scenarios, your figures might be able to be right next to your special terrain. Because if you put special terrain down before you put figures down, that means you can put your special terrain within 3 squares of the starting area and then expand your starting area up to the special terrain. Yeah.
You could be in your boxing ring.
Yeah, which...
Like if you played on Haha Sienda.
Yep. You would have a ton of colossals to make this work. But
there's a ton of colossal teams that are playing with... I mean, Flora right now is gross. 10 points. I mean, you could play with 6 of them.
Yeah.
Like,
so the point I'm trying to get across, I guess, is that you want to make sure that you keep the integrity of game setup alive. The way it's supposed to go is you roll for map. Whoever's first player picks the map. Second player picks whatever side they want to go on. You then put down your figures in order, first and then second. And then you're supposed to do special terrain next. It goes after expanded starting zones per these Avengers Infinities card. And from what I hear, rumor-wise, we should be getting a comprehensive rulebook, an update to it, that should be including this change. Like, basically, WizKids has gotten in the habit of creating these new rules and changing rules, and then not updating the rulebook until they have enough to feel like they need to update the rulebook. Yeah. So, for example, the special terrain, this was a change back in June of last year that I don't know if people have been playing this way. Now, granted, a lot of people just throw their stuff on the board, like you said.
Yeah.
But the way it should be played is you put down your figures, then you put down your special terrain, then you put down your objects.
Yeah.
So that means I could see how your team is laid out, and then I could block your way with my special terrain. Like, that's how it works. It's not a I put down my figures in my special terrain and go. It's you need to make sure you can, as they said at the Rock Cup, make sure everyone knows the game state. So keep the integrity of the game set up. Take your time a little bit. If they're pushing you too much, mention it to the judge or mention it to the thing that, you're not getting enough time to properly keep the game set up.
Yeah, especially with these objects that cost points and that are really good game mechanics for your pieces. It's important to know where your opponent puts their, where they put their objects, where you want to put your objects. It determines first turn, second turn, third turn.
Yep.
Game setup is going to determine your first 3 turns of how you're going to play that matchup. And I know there's been times where it's you feel rushed and it's you just throw everything out there and you're you think, I really need to put my object in this square, or I should have put my terrain over here. But you're just so rushed because it's well, my opponent already has their stuff out there. It's just take your time.
Exactly.
And it really needs to come back into focus. And I think that kind of falls back on some of the judging, and the people that run the tournaments. I think they need to allow just a little time. There's some big teams out there that have a ton of colossals, and and also you say, okay, make sure you look over your opponent's build sheet. You say, hi, my name's Sam. Oh, okay, you're playing. You look at their build sheet, and it's like I'm +4, you're +9, you roll for map. Is sometimes you just need a second. Like if you win map, you need a second to like analyze what their team is.
Yeah.
And say like, how do I want to play this match? Like, do I want to go wide open? Do I want to go underground?
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes it's like I've been to venues where it's like I'm staring at the build sheet and they're like, okay, go, and it's like, whoa, like we haven't even thought about getting figures out. So, and I know they're supposed to give us 45 minutes, but 45 minutes goes quick sometimes, especially in today's game where if you play a don't die team, you need all 45 minutes of that game.
Yeah, and that's if they do
Course,
40. That's if they do 45.
Yeah.
I actually prefer that.
Between 45, was it between 45 and 55? They're not supposed to tell you.
Yeah,
But-
I prefer that because with last action, I mean, you could probably guesstimate 45 minutes pretty decently. So if it's
Yeah.
more like 48 minutes, that's great. Anyway, that's a separate subject.
Yeah. Anyway.
The main thing to keep in mind is make sure that you get time to put down your. Now, don't take forever to put down your figures. You should know your team well enough. Okay, this is a long-range team I'm going against. I want to go more towards the underground, or a lot of colossals, so I want to do something more like the hedge maze. Like you should know map combos for your team and know how to set it up pretty well.
Yeah.
So just practice with your team, so that way you're not taking so long, and because you don't want to get into a scenario like you said where maybe you misplace your object, and so you're like, oh, do you mind if I move my object over here? And generally the HeroClix community is very nice and they'll say yes, but they're also not so nice during tournaments, and so they may mentally in their head think, okay, well,
The game has already started, and you want to move an object that should have already been placed correctly.
or they do it like a you owe me now. So in a scenario later down the road where they may have accidentally messed up a play because they miscounted or something, they might say, well, I let you have I let you move the object, and then you'll feel a little guilty, and so you won't let, it kind of goes, that's a whole nother subject, but it happens. Just make sure you know your team, where you're supposed to place them, and make sure you are putting the game set up how it should be per the rule book and not the comprehensive. Go off the card for now, because
And I think it's good to practice with your play group too. Practice this setup with your play group, because I know when you play with your casual, when you play with your buddies, it's like, I know what your team is. You just throw your stuff out, and then you kind of just nonchalant, like, oh crap, I need to move this here. Like, practice how you want to play in a tournament.
Yeah.
Like, that's really important.
And if you're like me, who doesn't have a local group that really plays meta, like top play, this is a little hint for me, and then we'll go on to Click 3. What I like to do is I'll go to a casual event and practice little things about my meta team. Like, I don't bring meta teams. I'm not Dan. I don't bring meta teams to a casual event and call them casual. But if I'm playing,
but they're fun, right? That's what fun means
for some people. But if I'm building a team and it's a weird event, I'll try to see if I can get a few different aspects of my meta team on there. So like if I'm playing a team with exospecs on my meta team, I might try to fit that on my casual team just so I can get used to picking powers on it. Same with the spear, or if I'm playing a certain taxi, like maybe I'm picking Coulson to play on my meta team. All right, I'm going to try to build a more casual team with him just so I can get used to his distance, get used to his powers. And that way you're still practicing meta-wise, but you're not bringing the hammer down on your casual group to the point where they hate you and they want you to stop showing up.
Yeah.
So that's a useful thing that I do because I don't like being the guy that's like, oh, here comes Alex with his meta team again. It's going to be, he's going to just clean house. I try to play towards the event and have fun, but at the same time, like I did it at one event I practiced. I brought the dual penguins, and now I didn't do the dumb title Harley thing where I was just moving them all over the board, but I still practiced with the
Yeah.
Penguins and had a much tamer team, but I still was getting that practice in. So just a little tidbit. I'm sure everyone already knows this, but if you're in a area that does not have meta play and you want to get into it, you can still do a little bit of it in your local casual group, just to do different elements, and you can even do it for maps. If there's a particular map and you want to get the finesse out of it, try taking that, and even if your team doesn't work very well on it, you can see
Yeah.
why it doesn't work.
Or you could just get on Rock Online.
That's true. Very, very
Yeah,
true.
you can just get on there, and you know, like again, that goes back on if you're wanting to learn a team and you want to know like how does this work, message the person and be like, hey, do you do online play? And most of the top players do. Like,
Oh yeah.
you know, and I'm willing to jump on there and be like, hey, I may not be the best person, but hey, I can at least put figures on a map and we could run through a couple turns and see what you think, you know?
Yeah,
So-
there's been times I'll hit Dan up and I'll be like, hey, let's hop on and play. And after turn 2, I'll say I'm done with this team.
Yeah.
Because I'll sit down and be like, I got an idea. I need to see how it works on paper. So play like you're playing a real team, and we'll play, and I'll be like, yeah, this team's garbage.
Yeah.
In my head, it sounded good, but it doesn't work, and you can usually figure it out in the first couple turns.
And that usually saves for you from getting every figure out of your boxes and the cards, and then because on the
Absolutely.
computer it's just on the computer. So that's one of the advantage of Rock Online and playing HeroClix Online is the accessibility of just okay, I want to play this fun team. I want to see how it works. It's easy to get the pictures, put it on there, and let's play a couple turns, see how it works, and then you're gonna know within 3 turns if it's something you want to play.
Yep, absolutely. All right, we've been blabbing on a lot. This is going to be our longest episode yet. So let's go ahead and get on to our click 3, buy, sell, or hold.
Click 3. Buy, sell, hold.
All right, typically during buy, sell, or hold, we talk about different figures we think you should be trying to buy as quickly as possible, or what figures you need to sell while they're hot. Let's kick things off by talking about Sam, what figures are you buying right now? Don't say Rebirth, that doesn't count. Throw that out, because that's
Don't
about
say
to come up.
Rebirth.
Yeah, be like, I'm
No.
buying Rebirth figures because the Centrals came out. Don't be like that. What
No,
figures are you trying to buy?
So I think what you're trying to buy is, of course, the Mandarin rings.
Yeah.
If you don't have that, you didn't get to a WKO, I think it's something you need. If you're a top meta player or just, want that. And also I think if there's a piece out there that you don't have for like your meta team, like the chases or like even the I'm blanking on what's the call and help for BTAS? Trouble alerts.
Trouble alerts, yeah.
Yes, that's the word. Like if you're needing some of those, like the Firestorms, the Flash, stuff like that, right now is the time to kind of buy those up because people, once it gets closer to nationals, are going to be like, I don't have all these extras. I'm going to sell them for hot money. Right now is probably the time to buy them.
Yeah, I think
If you're needing stuff for nationals and or states WKOs, like this is the time to buy. Don't wait till right before nationals.
Yeah, definitely don't. I think right now you can go ahead and buy the things that this is kind of a buy and a sell. I think if you're selling right now, you could sell all the things that are going to rotate because people are going to be dying to play them before they rotate. So Hawkeye is probably pretty expensive right now. But at the same time, buying wise, if you really want to play them now that you know that they're legal for nationals, you could probably get a pretty decent deal for some of these. Not a Hawkeye per se, but something like a Sam Cap, some of the other figures that are kind of second tier, but they're definitely worth playing at nationals. You could probably get those for a pretty decent price from someone who wants to make one last buck before they retire, and then they go down in price. So that you're really gonna have to negotiate.
Yeah.
But I definitely think that's a buy. I agree with you wholeheartedly with the Mandarin ring. We kind of were hinted at with the wording on the Mandarin ring itself that there's going to be more. So we should definitely be getting the ones we have now. And right now, it's kind of a, what's the word? Supply versus demand.
Yeah.
Supply is super high right now because WKO's just wrapped up. I think there might even be some. There's some this weekend. Lucky Dice has theirs tomorrow. So it's one of those buy now because people got extras. They want to get rid of them. And the supply is high. So that means you could probably talk people down and get a Mandarin ring for less than 20 bucks. Yeah, 10 or 20 bucks. It probably should settle around 15 to 20 bucks. And then it's just going to slowly rise and probably jump really high once we figure out exactly how these Mandarin rings are going to work.
It's just like exo specs. Exo specs were, like, of course they were hot because, like, okay, this is the new thing. And then people started playing around with them. And now it's like people are asking, like, a lot for exo specs. Because
50 to 60 bucks right now.
The supply right now is, like, kind of dwindled down. Like, there's not very many out there, so...
And you might be sitting there thinking to yourself, all right, well, it's just the Mandarin ring. It's just shape change and poison. I mean, the symbiotes are way better than that.
But if you can stack multiple rings...
Yeah, that's going to...
Yeah.
There's a lot of potential down the road because we do not know when we are getting more Mandarin rings. I mean, we could get some in WKOs. We could get them as Connelly's. We don't know when we're getting more, and it's that uncertainty that you want to take the gamble on because it's not a high point gamble. I don't think. Let me think. Any other buys that you could think about that you're trying to wrap up and get?
Nothing on my part. I just think that, like I said, if you're needing that one piece, I mean, I got a lot of sells because it's the time of the season to sell stuff. Like if you're needing to buy stuff, then you're also trying to sell stuff to buy stuff.
Yeah, I would say the other WKO prizes as well. Even if a lot of them aren't meta, like Thane probably isn't going to be making many teams. He looks cool, but he's not probably going to make a lot of teams. But
Isaac is probably a good pickup.
Yeah, Isaac, he's going for about 25 or more because he's a top 8 prize, not a top 16. I think Supergiant was top 16. So Supergiant
was top 8. Isaac was top 4. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, then who? Yeah. You're right.
Yeah. And then the dwarf was top 2.
Yeah, top 16 was the object. So, Supergiant. I mean, she's kind of a weird vampire mind control person, so she's probably not going to be meta, but you never know. She's probably going for only like $20, and her price is probably going down.
Yeah.
But between her and Isaac, I think there's potential there. And so now is the time to buy because supply is so high. A year from now, you're going to be kicking yourself because you're trying to make that robot theme team. And Isaac makes really awesome. Isaac's awesome, period. And who knows? You might be kicking yourself as a uni player that you didn't pick up Isaac because you realize, okay, maybe I don't want so many points to come out on the board if uni gets popped. And actually, Isaac is probably better, I think, and I've argued this, between Star Fox. It's between Star Fox and Isaac for a uni team. Star Fox obviously gives you flurry, so he gets the benefit there. But Isaac is significantly better, in my book, coming out on his last click.
Oh, yeah.
Because he is a whopping sidestepping, impervious 17 defense, 4 damage exploit, 11 attack. Like, he pops out. He's
doing some work. Yeah, he's doing some work.
And if he dies,
he's not giving up very much.
Yeah, if he dies, he's 50 points.
Yeah, you're not giving up 80 or 175 or something like that.
I'm waiting for the day when we actually can make a Unimind sideline that is worth less than Unimind itself.
That would be dope.
Like right now, we're
That
not
ain't gonna
there.
happen. That's probably not gonna happen, but who knows?
Well,
We do have Illuminati set coming out, so.
Well, if we get I think it's only 40 points. I think we only need 40 points. A 40-point Eternal, and we could technically make it happen.
Now, we need that 40-point Eternal to have Mastermind and Outwit.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
Okay? Make it happen, WizKids. Make it happen, Chuck. Make it happen.
You can make that as a separate figure. Because in my head, I'm like, all right, you get to 110 points because you can play Isaac, and then you can play crappy Star Fox. So that's 110. That's 110 points.
Wait. Wow. Oh,
So,
gosh.
There you go. All right. And then, I mean, yeah, that's basically it.
So for my cells, I'm going to go my
there you go.
cells. Let's just go into cells because we can sit here and talk about Unimind Eternals forever. So cells, I'm going to say, first of all, if you have a chase gene and you have an extra and want to sell it, right now is the time to sell it. Because if you see a chase gene on the trade groups, it's gone in an instant. Like, you don't even see her. Like, I mean, you know, Dale and I have multiples. We have 3 of her.
So why aren't you selling that third one?
Well, we had a 4th because we were like, there would be a time that both of us played 2. And I just played 2 genes in a tournament. And Daniel played 1. So there comes that point. No, I'm tempted to sell the 3rd because I'm not going to be playing for a while. So I probably won't play a second chase gene if I really, really needed to. I mean, but right now she's hotcake. Like, she is probably the #1 ID card behind Cyclops. Yeah. Like, I mean, Cyclops is behind her, but like, she is one of the top ID cards, period. 3-point ID card, and you have a running shot, TK. She can get herself off the board. Like, she's just good. So, if you have a chase gene, sell her if you want the money. And Hawkeye. Because people got rid of him, you know, whenever, like, okay, well, you know,
the ID card,
the ID card went away. I'm gonna sell my Hawkeye, and now he's making a comeback, and people are gonna be like, well, I don't have anything really to play for Nationals, I'll play Hawkeye.
Yep. And that was, to be honest, that was me. That was me. I sold my Hawkeye. Now, I did a good trade for it, so it wasn't like I was just trying to get rid of him, but that was me. I did something very similar. I got rid of my Hawkeye, and I'm okay with it. I made okay with it. So
yeah, I mean, like, if you have an extra and if you're not going to Nationals and you want a quick $80-$90, there it is. Yep. Like, people will buy him. So, that's really my 2 big sells. Like, those are just the 2 things that I can think that are just like, I mean, maybe if you have an extra, or if you have a Chase Black Panther, he's making a splash in the scene. People are working with him a lot with the Exospecs and the mirror. But Exospecs is giving him a lot more oomph, like a bigger push in the meta scene right now. So
yeah, and I mean,
if you have a Black Panther and you're like, I'm probably never gonna play this, you could probably get some good money out of that Chase Black Panther from somebody. So
yeah, and that's a good thing to keep in mind if you're not a meta player, but you have some of these pieces that you're not super tied to. Pay attention to these tournament reports, even if you don't play, because if you see certain figs showing up on a lot of teams, that means their price is going to go up. So it would be a good idea to go ahead and maybe put it out there for trade.
Yeah. And you may not. Here's the thing: you may not be a meta player, and you have a Chase Black Panther, and you see, wow, that guy's going for $80 right now, and you can sell him for $80 now. Wait till the set retires; he'll go down. Like, he'll go down to a $40 or so, and you can just pick him back up, or you can do some more trading around and get him back. And that's kind of how if you're not a meta player, you're not going to be going to a tournament. You're not going to be like, I need this Chase Black Panther. Like it comes down to the money. It comes down to tournament reports, and people are going to like say, oh wow, PJ won with 16 floras. I need to buy floras. You know, I wish I can get Daniel to sell our floras. We have so many freaking trees, but he won't get rid of them.
You actually reminded me of one more buy that I want to throw in there. Go ahead and buy if you haven't already gotten all the X-Men ID cards. And I'm not talking about the student ones. I'm talking about some of the headmaster ones.
Mm-hmm.
They've
gone down in price.
Yeah, go for the ones that just aren't, don't have the figures that you want. Like Rogue doesn't really have anything but that WKO prize. And she's pretty good, but I mean, you have to play a beefcake in order to play her. Because I think her lowest style is 150. You got Psylocke, who she's about to retire all of her pieces. Her ID is going to be legal.
Mm-hmm.
You got Colossus, who doesn't have anyone under 80. You've got all these pieces that are about to come out. We already know there's a Psylocke, there's a Rogue. There's going to be all three of those are in either Regenesis or the upcoming animated set. I think Psylocke is in Regenesis. I think Rogue is too. We haven't seen Dials yet, but they're coming up. It's one of those you got to get ahead of the curve. So Psylocke, I think, is only going for $10, maybe 15.
Yeah, because if you wait until the figure comes out, and if Psylocke is just a beast off the ID card, that ID card is going to shoot from $10 to a $30 ID card.
Yeah, and I mean, she could do a lot of crazy things. I mean, it's Psylocke. She could do an attack and maybe have a free action mind control. You never know.
Yeah.
Something that you're like, oh yeah, I want to bring that out. I forget what she gives as an inspiration. Exploit, maybe? I don't remember.
I can't tell you off the top of my head. But yeah, that's a really good point about the ID cards. I didn't even think about that, because right now, when you think of ID cards, you have like the 4 or 5 in your head that everybody plays.
Yeah.
So I did play against a Rogue, and that was awesome. Yeah. And I almost put Rogue on my Unimind team for a WKO. And I told Daniel, I was like, I think I want to play Rogue. And I think it was in Lexington. And he was like, oh, now you want me to play? I want to play Rogue. And we only have one Rogue. And I'm like, dude, I called it first. Like, I said it first. Like, don't be taking my idea. And he was like, no, I kind of want to play it. So I was like, that's fine. I'll just play a second Gene. And then he's like, I'm not playing Rogue. I'm like, damn it. I'm already set to play second Gene now. Like,
yeah, so. It's just go ahead and get ahead of the curve. Do you have anything that you're holding? What are you you're not willing to sell yet? Maybe down the road? Is there anything that you're not willing to buy yet?
No, I'm just holding on to a lot of the stuff that's not retiring. Yeah. I mean, we're collectors, so we're gonna have a full set of everything.
Oh yeah.
But if there's stuff that it may not be that good right now, in the meta scene, but you just like in the back of your mind, I'm like, this may work after retirement.
Exactly.
Like, if this is a good idea I have, but Hawkeye just ruins it, keep those pieces. Like, keep those pieces and keep that mindset in your head. Keep that team in the back of your mind, because once retirement happens and Hawkeye goes away and we get rid of some of the other, like the Shredders, like, there's going to be more relevant teams come out. It's going to change. I mean, you're still going to have Uni, you're still going to have Wales, but those teams will change in the sense that they'll put different pieces on their team that will change the meta. So
exactly. Your dog agrees.
Yeah, so. My dog Pepper agrees right now. So
I agree too with holding. I think you want to hold on to some of the pieces that, like, for example, and this kind of could go into buy if you don't have these either. So figures like Witch Queen LeFay, figures like Chase Odin. Like I have a Chase Odin, and I've been debating about keeping him because right now he's going for about $65, but he's not really meta right now. He's got potential. He's a little pricey. He's got potential, but he's not going to be meta right now just because of the environment. But come rotation, he might be. I think Witch Queen LeFay will see a lot more play after retirement. Right now, she's only going for like $10. She's unbelievably cheap. If you don't have a Witch Queen LeFay, just go out and get one now.
Yeah.
Because she'll probably rise in price because she'll see some play because she's mystical, right? So she'll be going on the teams with everybody else.
Sheriff Strange's?
Yep, Sheriff Strange is down to like $55. Like that's cheap for a very good chase.
That I really think is you're gonna see a lot more.
Yep.
I really do. I mean, I could be wrong, but I can eat these words. But I think once Hawkeye gets out of the scene, there's gonna be a lot of interesting teams come out of the woodwork that people are working on, but you can't bring them out right now. Like if you want to do any sort of good at a tournament, which you do, you don't want to go like travel and spend money and stuff to just go like I'm gonna play this team that I'm working on and go 0-4. Like this, I mean, that's
Exactly.
that's what practice is for. But like, I don't know. There's gonna be a lot of cool teams come out. So,
Exactly. I can't wait.
yeah.
All right, so it sounds like Pepper wants us to go ahead and move on to final thoughts.
Yeah, Pepper is like looking at me intently, like she needs to go outside.
All right, let's go to Click 4.
Click 4. Final thoughts.
With that, we enter Click 4, the KO click for final thoughts. Sam, what is your final thought for this jam-packed episode of ours?
Well, sorry that we gabbed for over an hour and a half, but
I think people like to hear us.
yeah, I think we have good ideas. Maybe our one fan that likes us. But, final thought, I say, coming up to states and coming up to nationals, practice. That way, you're completely confident going into these high caliber tournaments that really do mean a lot and have some really great pricing. So, practice your team, know your team, and good luck to everybody that's going to nationals and or states.
For my final thought, man, you really nailed that one.
Or are you going to say Mangog?
No, I'm not going to go that route. Yeah, I would say just make sure you're having fun playing Clicks. I mean, not everything has to be meta. You can, as long as you're having fun with the team and it wins occasionally, you're fine. Make sure you buy into sets that you enjoy playing. Like, I really like Captain Marvel. I haven't even seen the movie yet, unfortunately. But she's my favorite Marvel character.
You haven't seen the movie?
I got 4 kids.
Oh my, that's why you just you say, I'm going to work, honey, quotation marks, and then you take half a day. Like, she doesn't even know.
How would you like if Dan did that to you? You'd be pissed.
What? Like, go see the movie? Like, without me?
Yeah.
Like, does she like to go see the movies with you?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, yeah, I would be super pissed if they went.
She doesn't like me play. She doesn't like to see me play Hero Clicks and stuff, but she definitely likes going to see the movies. But that being said, I love the Captain Marvel graph feed. So for my final thought, make sure you get all the figs from that because it's a great set, and it's not sold out. Believe it or not. My local got another shipment in, so I guess it was sold out and they've already started restocking. So if you want these graph feeds to take off, and just go ahead and keep buying them, because this has been I think the best graph feed WizKids has done, because you didn't have the dumb one chase is at Target and one chase is at your local store, and unfortunately the cool chase you'll never see. Sorry, Sam, with that Wonder Woman.
I'm gonna get her one day.
So it's one of those, go support them. Not that I mean, you should always go and support WizKids because they play a game we love, or they make a game we love.
Yeah.
show that we love these graphics, because I think the collation was great. I think the figures in the set were great. There were like 4 or 5 figures in the set that I think could crack the meta for
Yeah.
grab feed. That's amazing, not counting Ninja Turtles. So definitely go show support, because that stuff is being restocked. If your local hasn't gotten any, see if they can order some more, because it is just a fun set in general.
Yep, most definitely.
So that'll do it with this episode of Sudden Death. May your Rebirth pre-release boosters all have Batman Metal Chases, and may all of your rolls be critical hits. Goodbye, everybody.
See ya.